welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Native Wellness Institute comes to you every week. Wellness Wednesday, 12 Pacific Standard Time on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on Mountain Standard Time. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Nistu Nidaniko Mokoyo Sukoi. I was born and raised in Hart Butte, Montana, and I now live 31 years on Lower St. Mary's. I am right, the lake is half frozen. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Just a little bit of protocol. Both my parents were born and raised in Hart Butte, Montana. My dad, Monokini, dad's an iron pipe and a new breast. So all those, looking for iron pipe lineage. There's, one good thing, you can come to Blackfeet Community College and make a date. We have archives. A lot of the genealogy is there. Please come. And our college has got all kinds of information. So that's my dad. And his parents are Sam Newbreast Sr., born in 1900, and Aunt Stanikiwa Agnes Ironpipe, born a few years later. And they were arranged marriage. My mom's mother is Awatski Irene Bullshoe Pollock Cooper, and she married Manly John Cooper, also married Pollock, and they were all born on the south side. Manly John Cooper came here in his teenage life, because we traced him down. I'm part white, but I can't prove it. And he married my Awatski a month after Mr. Pollock had died of typhoid fever from drinking ditch water. So that's a little bit of my background. Welcome to Native Wellness Institute. I think it's really, not only do you have to carry your ID, you have to know your cultural identity. And I just wanted to, welcome you to Wellness Wednesday and look at, all of the safeguards for your mind, body, and spirit. We come to you every Wednesday. It's positive, productive, and proactive. And our bottom line with Native Wellness Institute is that anything that falls under the branch of keeping our teachings of our ancestors alive, we do it. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I was just having a good laugh, because I always have a good laugh because in Iran, they cut off all their Wi-Fi, and the only people that can get the truth out have Starlink. And they showed a picture of the Starlink, and I go, hey, I'm like a third world country living on 1.5 million acres, Blackfeet Reservation. Because up here, the only way you can get good Wi-Fi is with Starlink. So remember, there's the haves and the have-nots. If you got the haves who have good Wi-Fi, and a lot of our globe, our Earth doesn't have good Wi-Fi. In Gaza, they don't have good Wi-Fi. In the 575 tribes that are in rural locations with big, Navajo Nation, you can go and those that got Starlink. So anyway, here we are. You came, stole our land, stole our, our children, threw them in residential schools and boarding schools, and raped and murdered them. And then you took our language, and then you disenfranchised our men, locked them all up, all of these things. But we're still here. We're still thriving. We're still abundant. We're still going strong. And so welcome to Wellness Wednesday. So, those of you who tune in every week, I thank you. It's a give back from Native Wellness Institute. So no matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing, I come on and I do some positive, productive, and proactive cultural stuff. So I was just, I'm just elated. I just want to share with you, and I encourage you. My encouraging words to you is to map out, especially right now, in January and February, your self-care plan. So, recovering workaholic, yay. Recovering oldest child, yay. Recovering alcoholic, yay. Recovering Al-Anon, yay. Recovering, I was just like, jays. But I wanted to share with you, today's topic again. I want to say it's self-care with whatever, and I want to send out our condolences, our deepest condolences to Native Dads Network, to Albert for losing his sister. I send that out because they stopped all programming this week. I want to send out deepest condolences to the Napiaki that was shot by ICE in Minneapolis, shot and killed. I want to send out the condolences to her family, and all of those of you who are, it is our right, it's our First Amendment, it's our freedom of speech to say the things you need to say. And I want to send condolences to all of, the Epstein victims and all of the other Epsteins who have hurt women and LGBTQ and other persons. I want to send out a message to rise up and to speak out, to rise up and to speak out. So I come to you. I went for a long walk where our lake is half frozen, and I was raised, as you know, my own tobacco from a seed that came from Ontario, a seed of tobacco, Pistascon, that was given to the tribes in Montana. So thank you, Atstanikiwa. Lori Newbreast carries Grandma's name, and Coco Fresh, Coco, I'm still going to call you Coco Fresh, and, Sharon Paragoy down in Crow Nation, and all of our sisters over at Fort Belknap who've been growing tobacco, all of, in the memory of Bruce Wolfchild at Kainai, the tobacco that you grow. So that seed, there was a long leaf, and there's a new plant growing, and I took the leaf and I crumbled it up, and I had some dry meat. They always say, offer your ancestors some meat, some food, and I took a long walk along the frozen lake, and I said prayers. I said prayers to, whatever words I'm bringing to you today, that they be words that help all of us and our families. So I took the tobacco and some of that dry meat. Had a lot of fat because we love dry meat with a lot of fat, don't you? When dry meat has a lot of fat on it, ooh, it just tastes so good. Making my mouth water. Even if it's elk dry meat, if it's emu, buffalo dry meat, even beef dry meat, when it has a lot of fat on it, it's like you can just chew it. So I took that tobacco and I rubbed it into a ball, because it was just a big leaf, a big dry leaf, and I rubbed that dry meat into it. And I was standing out on the corner here, and I just started feeling the power of not only the water, but feeling the power of our land, the power of our land, the power of clean air, the power of the beavers that have a lodge underneath the water, the power of and there was, earlier this morning, there was a golden eagle just flapping. going by. And so that's what I woke up to, was a golden eagle just flapping by. So I took that offering, and I'm encouraging you, light a smudge, take your tobacco out, put down your tobacco. And I'm just going through the motion as I was praying. It just seemed it made a ball of really good tobacco with dry meat all mushed together, and saying the prayer, to Ishtabat to Pio. And whatever, I always like Crow Nation, Nakpadadia, how they say creator, or how Northern Cheyenne say Mahio, creator. And I love, Dr. Bonnie Duran, how she loves Buddha. I love, the monks that love Buddha, and their dog. Their dog is getting the best care. I just, imita spirit that travels around. That walk of peace. Be the walk of peace. And saying the prayers, and thanking Ishtabat to be for all of the what the mysteries that lie in the water underneath the rocks, with every leaf, with every tree, with all the medicine that's dormant right now. I rolled that tobacco. And then I asked special prayers because I have, my peer group. I'll be turning 70 in April, and my peer group goes through health challenges, and some of them are coming out on the other end. Some have had life-threatening health challenges, but they're still here. So I prayed for each one of those. And then I prayed for, all of our elders. My mother's 87, and she's got a flaming red truck, and she was going to go in and do all her errands, but she goes and says hello to everybody. And she's making some ham, and a lima bean soup. Ooh, it made me want to go in and have a... But I'm baking some short ribs. Anyway, I was just praying. I was praying that everyone has enough food, that they have enough food to sustain themselves, that it's good food, that they have enough in their budgets, to buy food that feeds their families. And just, thanking again all of the resources that we have. And I have to share with you, I went on a 12-day self-care travel, and, it started the 29th of December, and I intentionally went to the Palm Springs International Film Festival to see Metalarks, and with an American audience, and there was 70 countries. I met so many people from these 70 countries where they had films, Moroccan films with English subtitles, with all of these international. And then, I came home to hearing that Sugarcane with an indigenous director, Noise Cat, being nominated for an Oscar. I just said, film is a tool. Film is a healing. How many of us love movies? We love movies. We can heal with movies. And now there's all this indigenous, Tasha Hubbard. There's Ivan and Ivy McDonald. There is, Tasba and all of the, reservation dogs. There's so many right now. Indigenous are speaking. So watch their films and listen, if you can, just go and sit and be with them. So as I was rubbing that tobacco together, I was saying all these prayers, and I'm kind of, because I think it's time to stay in prayer. It's time for all of us to, throughout the day, whatever hits your heart, whatever news you hear, whatever you're going through, your own healing in your own body, your own family, just stop and pray. Stop and pray. And it kind of, it gives you that solace, that calmness. I've been doing kind of like spring cleaning I call it's not springtime, but just shedding a lot, giving a lot of things away that when you you come from a family who are hoarders. We have how many pairs of shoes, how many mugs, but a lot of other things that you don't need much on this self-care trip. One of the lessons I learned is you don't need much to be happy. You don't, you need some good food, you need good water, but you don't need much to be happy. Sit with your loved ones. I can't, and when I came home after this 12-day self-care trip, and part of it included I got a new crown, brand new crown, and it's going to last as long as I do, so I can chew meat. you know, and now I'm going to get another crown here, number 5, and a crown on number 20, because I can. And this is, I didn't have no cavities. This is funny, they said, you don't have any cavities. I was like, woohoo! When you go to the dentist and you ain't got no cavities. But some of your teeth need repair. So, it's the day and age. Take advantage of your healthcare system. I'd already gone through the pap and pelvic. I had already gone through the breast exams. I had already gone through the blood panels. So my cholesterol's good. I had already gone through. I'm keeping the blood pressure. It's really good. It's been really because I get high blood pressure when I'm too stressed, and that was why I did the self-care trip. I made sure, this is so weird, I would just say the prayer, let me sleep 8 good solid hours and remember my dreams. So I had letting go dreams. And even, one of the things that happens for me, and I just to share just a little bit, is I astro travel in dreams. So I was with one sister in Hopland Band of Pomo. And sure enough, that night when I was leaving, I hadn't even left. I was flying out of Santa Rosa, Ukiah in Santa Rosa. I went and visited her in her dream and gave her some advice to keep sewing. And all I can say is if whoever I smudge with and whoever I pray with, and I saw my sister doing leaps and bounds of healing. She brought her 75-year-old mother. She brought her brother who's studying federal Indian law, who helped with the United Nations Indigenous rights. And I could just see her. And when she got up to do her presentation, she had this beautiful Seminole skirt that she had sewn. And she said she was thinking of quitting sewing, but now she's not. So you never know how your words, giving compliments, receiving compliments, but giving compliments, make sure that the words that come out are uplifting. Don't even, and if you can train your mind, just look at someone and look at what they do well. 80% of what they do well. Let go of that other 20% because that's why we're on earth. That's why we come here. That's why we live 100 years. That's why in this 100 years, we learn to say things like everything's going to be all right. Things will happen in abundance. You're going to be okay. So, woohoo! It's a mind control. That's the other lesson that I got on this 12-day self-care is the words that I say to self are just as important as the words that I give out to help people do their healing. And so the self-talk, and it was funny because like wherever I was, Gene Tagabon used to always say, when you walk by the mirror, look at yourself, not in an ego kind of way, but just say, I love you just the way you are. So if you're shaggy and greasy, whatever you are, just walk by and tell yourself encouraging words. You're doing good. You're getting in shape. Tell your body just how you look now is good enough. It's beautiful. Just how your body is shaped. Buffalo hips and antelope legs. If you got a belly and you can't see your belt buckle, so what? You're still good looking. just just say positive things. And I went and spent 2 nights with my mother, because as soon as I came back, when I was on that self-care trip, it said, spend time with those you love. Do not neglect. Spend time. So I went and spent the night at her house, and then I was able to go to my dental appointments, because we have to drive 3 hours this way, 3 hours that way. And it's actually, wintertime, it could be 4 hours to try to drive to Kalispell. So I just stayed with Mom, and we visited. We sat at her kitchen table and we visited. And a lot of our visit was, my mom she writes letters, and she she wrote Christmas cards, and she used to send out 142 Christmas cards. And some came back because they're not here anymore. And so I was just saying, okay, Mom, tell me the stories of each of the cards that you sent out and what you got back. And so she started showing me they write notes. She got Christmas cards from people that were in her treatment program, 30, 40 years ago, when they're still sober. They always write, thank you for giving me back my life, for helping me find my sobriety. So I listened to all her stories, and she keeps a list, and it's sacred. And then she put it all in one box, and she said, this is next year. I'm going to write letters again. Next year, they're going to write back to me. And I just sat there, and I shut up, and I listened to my mom of all these stories of people she cherishes. And, even still writes to Harold Belmont's family, to Joy, to all of the children, and they write back. She still writes to Christine, mother Lorraine. They returned home with Buster Yellow Kidney Sundance when they brought their mom. She was 100 years old, to the center pole. So she still writes to them, and they still write back. And every story, I'm just sharing a little bit. So I'm encouraging you, spend time with those people, your family, that matter. Spend time with them. Go places with them. We're just so elated. Some of our team is took off and landed in Iceland this morning, Wednesday morning. I'm just gonna get a little something to drink and walk outside with you, because as being inside is good. Being inside, and this is where I live. But I wanted to walk outside with you because I think that this bizarre weather, and some are calling it climate change, some are calling it climate harmony. So, this is my laugh, because here's my Starlink. And here's my Starlink. Just like in Iran, that's the only way that they can get Wi-Fi. So I'm just, for a moment, just going to let you look at what I look at every morning. I'm just going to let you look at all the ice here. It's freezing up. It's frozen all the way north. But if it stays warm much longer, you can see it along the shore. It might fall in again. And that's, that's our challenge. We heard big storms are hitting in the east, but here we get, we got close to zero, and now it's warmed up again. I don't even want to, I'm out here, I don't wear sunglasses, but that sun feels it feels like Palm Springs sun. I know it's a different kind of sun because in Palm Springs, that was definitely, ultraviolet rays. So I had to just limit the time in the sun. But right now, I just wanted to walk outside with you and just visit a little bit more about that self-care. Plan some trips. Tomorrow is Martin Luther King's birthday. It'll be, I think, honored in America on the 19th. Plan a trip. Remember who Martin Luther King was. Remember who Angela Davis was. Remember who Nelson Mandela is. Remember Rosa Parks. And then start to go with your traditional leaders, what they taught us. I'm a minister, and thank you, Wendy and Lockley. We have Piconnie Press. We have a Facebook. We have thousands who live off reservation, and then it's for our people here. So last night it was just so fun. I found in the archives, I think it was Carl Crow of Brockett, 1975. There was pictures of everyone. And they all looked like they were in the 70s, because they all had those hairdos. Some were, they thought it was good when they dressed up in a suit, and anyway, I posted some of those and they were called Piconnie, like PEKUNN -NEE, Piconnie, 1975. And that was only 51 years ago. But as I was posting it, I said, I wonder what it's going to be like in another 51 years. "51 years from now, how are you preparing your descendants to be culturally sound, sovereignty sound, to be, have a clear mind, to raise their children?" It's, and that's why in some of our culture is set up in the language to take care of the next 10 generations. Our culture is set up to take care of our women, to take care of our children, to let our men be our protectors, to be our nurturers also. It's also to take care of our two-spirit, our LGBTQ and our two-spirit. A lot of our culture, it wasn't until outsiders came that they started to fragment some of our beliefs. But, in this self-care, because I tell you, this 12 days of reflection, I had one of Bethany Yellowtail's journals, and I would write down, my meditations were on forgiveness and letting go. And each day I would say what happened in the day and how there was things that I needed to let go. And, we did this, and I said it last week, we had this incredible letting go experience at Hopland Band of Pomo, where there was all this rock garden, little tiny rocks, and we were able to, in each rock, give something, a person, place, or thing, and to let it go. And today, just like when I was describing that tobacco, when I was describing, feeding the ancestors, because they like meat. When I was describing that, I was letting go of some things, letting go of the past. It's good to remember, and in each, if there's someone that you have a resentment or you have regrets, or they just kind of piss you off. I used to laugh because we used to do this humorous exercise with Indians, to saying, is there a person, if you met him in a dark alley and you had a silencer on your pistol, who would that be? And they could always name someone. if it was their exes or whatever. But time to let that go. Any kind of betrayal, get therapy. A lot of our team is doing self-care, and we're all going to therapy. I go to 12-step, I go to meetings often. I go to online meetings, and I go to in-person meetings. And that was a really cool thing is, I had all the people who traveled me around, all of when I was down at Kauai, they were all clean and sober. I love that. Even the mom was driving me around, Eli Andreas, and she was driving me around, and we could share stories of how we used to be, and we're not like that anymore. How we are today as parents, how we are as grandparents, and letting the past go. Don't forget, but letting things go that you don't need to carry into 2026. If you don't have to carry it, don't carry it. Don't carry it in your mind, body, and on your shoulders and spirit. Just let it go. Let go and let God. And so I'm just soaking up the sun. I wore my Mother Nature, Mother Nature, Mother Nation, where one of the first things that Native Wellness did in December to kick off, going into the new year is Mother Nation always has a gathering online, and I was their keynote speaker. And I have a confession. I haven't been to the post office since December 23rd. And that was okay because I let that go. I pay my bills online, that kind of stuff. And I thought, so yesterday I made it a ceremony to go to the post office because I didn't know what was there. I mean, besides getting some paychecks, woohoo, yeah, there was cards people wrote to me, and I've smudged them, and I'm gonna read them later today because I was saying I need to write back to these people that wrote to me. So I put a little pile of them, and then I look in this box. Of course, Mother Nation. This is their T-shirt that they sent me. But you know what else they sent me? And I was just running out, and that's how medicine is. They sent me some California sage, and I was just running out because I grind it and I mix it with other medicine. Then they sent me some sweetgrass. They sent me an abalone shell. They sent me pens. They sent me a really nice tea mug. I don't drink coffee. They sent me all kinds of a journal. And so after I finish with the Bethany Yellowtail, that's going to be my next journal because I use journaling. Mr. Cushions in the 8th grade said to journal, so I've been journaling since the 8th grade. And you get to laugh at yourself. Talk about a letting go. Oh, when you wrote as an 8th grader, and then when you wrote as a 25-year-old, you get to laugh at yourself how you thought. And then 35, and even sometimes I just say, geez, this old badass auntie that's just still living and got good health, and I don't take it for granted. But I was just laughing at my younger self and letting that go, letting it all go, and just living, doing, and that, getting back to this topic of self-care. Just live today, taking care of yourself. Do the things you need to do at work, that you need to do for the family, the food you need to prepare. But, take some time, go take a walk. The weather's so good. I was thinking about our 3 little redheads. They're at school, so we kind of have to go along with their schedule. And I was thinking about Tristan, and Josie and Hadley and Talon, little iron pipe. I was thinking about my relatives, over there on Duck Lake, and just all of the people. I've been so privileged to watch many young being born and watching them grow up. I'm just that privileged. But just right now, wishing for, some of the little ones, like I just, I look at the frozen lake and I was thinking of little grandson, Eli and Adrian. And when Adrian came here, he had never skipped rocks. So we were out there for a long time. And that's what he remembers of the whole trip. He was taking a trip with my brother Ira, and he remembers learning how to skip rocks because I was showing him how to get the smooth rocks, and to get I said they kind of look like a spaceship because they're smooth, and then you just gotta throw it and it will skip. So by the time he left, I said, "How many times did that rock skip?" And he goes, "That one skipped 6 times." So that's when you're letting go, let go of the stuff that hurt, let go of the stuff that betrayed, let go of that nastiness, but keep the good memories. Keep the good memories. And in 2026, create the good memories now. I think of part of our team and going to Iceland, and they're gonna they shut off their phones. Rest of us are taking care of business, and but to actually unplug and unhook maybe, and sometimes getting off social media, but not Wellness Wednesday. Woo, can you see that wind? Sabu, sabu. Ooh, the wind is just starting here. It's just beautiful. I just wanna, as you can see, I'm just soaking up the sun. But the wind is blowing here, and that's they say that the snow, stewy, the coldness, the snow takes everything that's not good and puts it into the earth, sakum, the earth, and the wind blows all of the negative stuff away. Just let it blow, or just let it blow, and all over your body. Let it blow away what you hear, just let it be. I got a wood stove going, and I have to give a shout out. When I came home, my house was cold. Oh, and I never, because I always leave. I do have propane, and I set it at 63, but the house was cold, and we thought, anyway, another good, rather than going to worst case scenario, I made some calls to Boyd Evans, who had put the furnace in. And I got out, I started a wood stove fire, and I got out the emergency kerosene heater because it was cold. And I got the house just warm. And then I'm so spoiled. I put electric blanket mattresses on my bed, so everything was warm. And I went to bed and I thought, well, if I have to get a new furnace, I'll do that. But that wasn't it. And so I wanted to thank, James Evans for coming the next day, and because I get 1,000 gallons of propane and 500 gallons because you can't get up and down the driveway in the winter. And what had happened is the shutoff valve was on the 1,000-gallon tank. I had already used 500 gallons so far. Was not turned on. That was something simple. And I just said, thank you, Shabatapi. Thank you that I have, warmth. So I'm burning wood now. I like wood heat. I grew up with wood heat. And, just kind of, some of the history. When I was on this self-care trip, I realized I was with people that I was the only one who grew up without electricity or running water. Because I was born in 1956. And we didn't have electricity or running water when we had wood heat, wood stove. And that in itself taught me to appreciate things in a different way. But I still, that comfort, of a wood stove, of having chopped wood, of, being by the fireplace, and you can put your medicine. It's like you can put your smudge right on top of the wood stove and pray. And if you want, Mom would always heat up her tea. She would put it on the wood stove. or she would always have some water going because she said it moisturizes the air. you know, and so I still right now I'm just heating. It's not cold enough to. But having James come and figure that out, and I call for help. That's the other thing. I was thinking on this trip of self care, we all need to call people for help, with big or small. Call someone up, after this Wellness Wednesday, and just you can say, help. Just listen to my story. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm thinking. Or ask for help. Just ask. The ask is there. Ask for help. So in 2026, I would say ask others for help. Ask them to sit with you when there's grief. Ask them when you're moving through some painful stuff. Just spend time with them. Cook a meal. Listen to their story. Ask people for help. And so that's some of my thinking right now. I just wanted to come outside. I guess I'll go back into the shadows a little. That's really, really, really bright. You can see the smoke coming off my roof right there. Peaceful, 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 peaceful. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. We come here every Wednesday just to visit with you a little, to talk about mind, body, and spirit of being okay, and how our dialogue. So with that, I think I'll start winding down for but before I go, one of the things that I also learned on this self-care trip is about cultural gatekeeping. I saw with the Kauias that I was with, they didn't let anything interfere with them singing and the bird singers and keeping the culture going and gathering their medicine up in the canyon. No matter how many cultural gatekeepers that are trying to tell you if you're not doing it right or any of that, don't pay attention to them. Just keep doing the things of your culture, learning your language, encouraging people to speak their language, learning your songs. Just do that. And then again, when I went up to there's a lot of pomos, man, from Sacramento all the way up to Wairika, all the way, and they travel deep. There's cultural gatekeepers. Don't pay attention to them. Just talk to Creator. Creator will show you what you need to do to keep your culture going and to raise your children with the culture. And so, as I'm listening, my mom's teachings, she would always say the most powerful time is early in the morning. The Bisu Watsis, the morning star. The spirits listen to your prayers. And then in the evening as the sun is setting. So, just appreciate the sunrises, the sunsets. Just do the best job you can during the day, and remember, the words again, that flint, like in the Mayan calendars, the tongue, the words that you think and the words that you say, that they're good words, that they're encouraging words, like I love you, Gitsikakumim, I cherish you. Tell people you cherish them. Tell people how much they mean to you. I think I'm gonna close off with just some video right here, looking at the lake. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Let go, let God. Think, think, think. Keep it simple. Stupid. Kiss. Keep it simple. All of those great things that we learn in recovery. So Native Wellness Institute, we're here every Wednesday, just sending out this message today. I hope that you can feel the peace. See you next week.